So now it's time to get acquainted with the diphthongs in English. There are 8 diphthongs in English, and before getting to the definition of what a diphthong is, I would suggest pronouncing the diphthongs in context, and what a better context would be than a tongue twister. So let's give it a shot, shall we? They named the baby Jane. It may rain today. They say it takes 8 days. I'm afraid we're late for the train. They stayed in Spain for 8 days. Jane, stay and play with the baby. It rained and rained on the grey April day. No pains, no gains. Haste makes waste. He who makes no mistakes makes nothing. Okay, I think I've been quite successful. But frankly speaking, these tongue twisters are very easy. I'd like to draw your attention to the last 3 because these are valuable pieces of advice. Indeed, if no energy and effort, proper energy and effort is put into something, that I'm afraid we might not succeed. Then we shall also keep in mind that when hurrying, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are bound to succeed. And finally, don't be afraid of making mistakes, because this is how we actually learn. Tongue twisters are very good types of exercises when you want to improve your, let's say, fluency in pronunciation. Definitely, you shall first learn how to pronounce the sound, and then to pronounce it within a context, and then find tongue twisters. Begin with the easier ones, and then gradually find more difficult. Definitely, your pronunciation will improve, and your diction as well. These two are slightly more difficult, so let me see if I will cope with them, pronouncing them properly. I know a boy named Tate who dined with his girl at 8:08. I'm unable to state what Tate ate at 8:08 or what Tate ate at 8:08. I think not bad, this one. The next one. What noise annoys an oyster most? A noisy noise annoys an oyster most. Okay, now it's your turn. You give it a shot. Okay, so what's the diphthong? There is a very rude definition. Actually, it's not totally wrong, because indeed a diphthong is a combination of 2 pure vowel sounds. However, this definition is rather incomplete. Before giving you a more complete version of the definition, let me first ask you, what kind of action do these pictures reflect? So what is the girl doing? What about Santa Claus? What's happening to the paper airplane? And then there's definitely the hang glider in the last picture. So actually the last picture, actually the word hang glider suggests or prompt the answer. The action is gliding. All of them glide. And the diphthong very often is called a glide in English. So why is it so? Because while pronouncing a diphthong, there is a glide from one pure vowel sound to another. What is meant by this glide? That means that the movement of the tongue, lips, and jaw changes, right? Glides from one position to another. And the first sound in each phoneme is longer and louder than the other. So we have here the example sound, right, and the glide out. And we notice that the first sound, right, in the glide is longer in the diphthong, whereas the second is shorter. So that means that the first sound is the nucleus of the diphthong, whereas the second is the glide. Okay, where do diphthongs occur? What would be the position in a word of a diphthong? So actually diphthongs occur in all positions, but they never occur before the sound mm. Okay, now also we have to pay attention to the variations in length. A diphthong is fully lengthed if it is in final position or if it is followed by a voiced consonant. And it is slightly reduced, right, when it is followed by a voiceless consonant. And we can group the diphthongs in two categories. So diphthongs can be centering, and we have here the examples, bia, bua, bea, and closing, like bay, boy, bye, bow, bow. Now, thinking about the classification of vowel sounds, this category, what did it take into account? Definitely what kind of sound is the glide, right? So being a closing sound, then we can group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diphthongs into the closing category. And e here is a center sound, and that means that the diphthong would be centering. Okay, now we shall take each diphthong separately, see how the glide happens, in what position it occurs, and definitely what the spelling of the glide might be.